Hello. All right, let's finish this train here. We've got drawing sheets to do. I don't know if you can see them there. This is what we're doing. We've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 6 drawing sheets to do. So we haven't really gone over drawing files yet in here. So what I want to do is kind of walk you through this last file type in Inventor and get some drawing sheets on there, go over some parts lists, balloons, that sort of thing. It's going to be pretty simple here. It's one of the easier types of file systems to deal with. So let's go ahead and just get started here. So I'll share my screen and we're going to open up Inventor. And what we need to do is we need to go to New Drawing File. All right, there's about 10 different ways to get to it, but we need a new drawing file. The standard size sheet that comes in should be fine. It's either going to come in as a C or a D sheet. Actually, this one's giving me a D size sheet, which is kind of big. And how do you go about changing this? Well, there's, again, many ways to go through. I mean, you can edit your sheet, give yourself a C size. All right. Why don't you go ahead and do that? Just right click on there. All right. And edit your sheet. And C size is the 17 by 22. And you can see like your A size is 8.5 by 11. But when we go 8.5 by 11 here, you see how large this title block is? So unless we go ahead and we make a custom title block, which is outside the scope of what we're doing right now, we're going to have too much there in a title block. So I'm just going to go edit the sheet and use a C size because that's about the correct proportions that we need. Anywhere you go or you work or you want to do working drawings somewhere, they're going to have their own custom title block. That's a very specific size. And a giant title block just doesn't make much sense for what we're doing right here. And when we go to print it anyway, we can just select best fit for our printer and then we'll be fine and good to go. So the first thing you need to do is go over here to your base, all right, and place down a base view. So you have to navigate to the model that you want. So you have to be able to go through and find what you want. So you have to know where all of your parts are. And this tends to be what trips people up the most. So, I mean, for me, there's all kinds of stuff here. I've got all sorts of things. Let's see. Where did I put it? You know, as you can see, these things all go all over the place. And your file structure is more or less what you need. So I'm going to start off here with getting my assembled train. There we go. And it starts to want to place a base view down. I'm just going to click OK. And in this version of Inventor, what I want to do is when I click on this, it allows me to, see when I double click here, change the view. Now this is the default front view it's getting me based on the file type itself, but I can rotate this around to get exactly what I want. And this is what I want for my front view. All right, notice the train is facing this way. So I'm gonna go ahead and click OK. I'm just going to project views here. A top, a right side, an isometric, right click, create. All right. If you double click on your views again, you can look at some of the display options and you really want to make sure these tangent edges here are clicked. All right, those tangent edges will make sure that you can see, there we go, notice all the wheels and stuff, we can see that. Good. The next thing that you're going to want to do is double click on your isometric and make sure the isometric is half the size of everything else. If you're using a C-size sheet, this becomes very easy. That's why this is an introductory activity. All right, so we have this here. And let's see, and I want this shaded as well. So I want it shaded and half scale. There we go. Now I have this shaded and it's half scale. And I can adjust all of this around just where I want it. All right. Hit escape here. I'm going to move this up just a little bit, just like that. The next thing that I want to show you is, so this is going to be it. Usually we put in some dimensions about now, but for now, this is going to be our first sheet. And all I really want to do is add a parts list in. Okay. So parts list, where is that going to be? All right. So you can go through, annotate, parts list, and that's it. Then I'm going to put this in the corner. Okay. And there's my parts list. All right. So now if I go in here and I can kind of zoom in, go back to my hand, and you can see all the parts that I have here are listed. Now I just got to insert a balloon. So a balloon allows me to click, click, right click, continue. See that? And that's part 9. Part 9 is a wheel. What else do I want to grab? Well, let's look at this Cowcatcher. So click, click, right click, continue. What else do we have? How about this linkage page? Click, click, right click, continue. All right, and you can go about and smokestack, click, click, right click, continue. How about the body itself? So you can see how this parts list just identifies all the parts of my train. And as long as all of your train parts are visible and labeled, that should be good. So you can see what I'm missing. I need the axle peg. So where is the best place to view that axle peg? Okay. This is what happens when you work on a laptop here. So let's see. Maybe we can grab it from, maybe this side will be good, right? So maybe click, click, right click, continue. And then the hitch magnets. So the hitch magnet is going to be this piece. Click, click, right click, continue. All right. Click, click, continue. All right. And you just want to make sure you label all of your parts. All right. So there we go. We should have all of our parts labeled at this amount of time, right? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm missing a part. All right. And, if you're missing a part, you just figure out what we're missing here. Smokestack wheel, linkage peg, linkage arm. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there we go. Okay. So once you get everything labeled here, I'm not going to dwell on this right now. We're going to go ahead and make a new sheet. So that's one sheet done. Done. Out of the way. So what do we do now? I'm going to hit escape. Right click over here. New sheet. What's going to go on my new sheet? I'm going to place views. Not annotate, but place views. Place a new base view. And I only need one base view. All right. It should remember the folder that I was in. And I'm going to go into my explosion or the presentation file. Click go ahead and open. And then I'm going to modify this so I can see all of the parts. And again, you're going to do this so it looks good. And it's coming in at a quarter scale. I don't want to see what it looks like in half scale. 1 to 1? 1 to 1 works. Let's see. And you can see you kind of can rotate this around till you get something that you want here. And again, if you have a mouse and you're on a laptop, this is going to make your life a lot easier. And you can see this. Now I have what I need. Okay. And then on this as well, I'm going to flip this around. There we go. That looks good. And then go ahead, click OK. And what I want you to do is go ahead and put a parts list on this one as well. And you're going to do that the same way. Okay, make sure this all fits in there nicely. When I click on this, I'm actually going to double click and make this one shaded. All right. And then once you shade it, you can actually see these trailing lines of how everything gets put together. And you can adjust your view. You can do that right here with this view cube until everything looks the way you want it. Or if you want, you can do it in the part file itself to get another reset the home for that. But after you have that, annotate, parts list, and plunk down your parts list. And go ahead and list all your parts again using your balloons, okay? So there's your balloons, so on and so forth. Drop down in your balloons as well. I'm going to hit escape a few times. And once you finish that up, we can move on one more time. Right click over here, new sheet. Notice I'm just adding new sheets. I'm just going to have all my sheets here. The next one, place views. Going to go with the base view. And I'm going to go with the body now. All right, so the body, train body, open. I want it 1 to 1. All right, I want it to be facing this way. Okay. I'm going to move this where I want it, again here. And you can see I can automatically start going here and dropping in these views. Okay. I'm going to select this view. I'm going to make sure that it's shaded. And I'm going to make it half the size. All right. So there's our view, and you can kind of see what this looks like. Notice how we have all of our hidden lines in there throughout this. And then if I double click this, I can go into the display options, show my tangent edges, which, for the body isn't as important, but that gives you a better idea of what is going on. Now, the labels that you label these, I'm not labeling these views as of right now, mainly because I change my mind every single time I do it, and I'm going to tell you how I want to do it in class. Not to mention, if you're not in my class and you're following along, you should follow along with what your teacher's having you do, not exactly what I am doing. But generally, I will, on my isometrics here, this is where I will put the labels, put this on here, and write something like body. Okay. And that gives you the scale of that as well. All right, and then you can change all the text that you want. But that's easy enough. And obviously, if you've already made your own title block, you can put in your custom title block there as well. Next, okay, is I want you to go ahead and new sheet. And let's talk a little bit about this. I want to use some of these small parts. So I'm going to start off with this hitch peg. And this hitch peg is coming in at 10 to 1. I want this to be 1 to 1. All right, and I'm going to put this over here, and I'm going to rotate it. And then I'm just going to project one view there and an isometric. Now, why do I only need one view of this? Now, because remember, if it's something that's cylindrical, and again, I'm going to turn tangent edges on all these. If it's something that's cylindrical, it's going to look the same from multiple views. All right, so if it's going to look the same from multiple views, all right, you can go ahead and, there we go. You can go ahead and just use 2 of those views. Now notice that here, this should be half scale. Remember, isometric is going to be half the size, and this right here is my peg. Also, the linkage peg. So you can place your linkage peg over here. Same way. Axle peg here and hitch magnet here. Same thing. Tangent edges on. Make sure 1 to 1, 1 to 1, 1/2 scale, and is labeled. Okay, I'm not going to go through and make sure that is redundant either. All right, but make sure you have that on there. So that way we can actually see what that is. So then that's that sheet. So you're going to have 4 total parts on this sheet. You are going to have 4 total parts on your sheet. I am, just for sake of time, I'm not going to go through and show you that because it's the same exact process. I'm going to go to my new sheet. All right, here. I'm going to insert a linkage arm, the cowcatcher, and the smokestack. Now, the linkage arm, again, is another part that you can just put on 2 views because, again, when you turn it sideways, you're not going to gain any additional information. So I'm not going to be concerned with that. I'm going to show you instead. So I'm going to put the linkage arm up here, cowcatcher, smokestack, all right? So let's see, we have the linkage arm. This is what I want. And all we need for the linkage arm is 2 views. You got to see how thick it is. And we need an isometric. Okay. And then this is going to be half scale and shaded. And make sure you have that labeled. Yours obviously shouldn't say view, but that'll be there. The next part we're going to have is going to be the cowcatcher. So I want to go ahead and grab my cowcatcher. Now the cowcatcher, what I want you to do is I only want you to put on, let's look at this from what would be the front view. I want this to be 1-to-1. And then I'm going to put on this view up here. And then, okay, I'm going to slide this over here, the Cowcatcher. I'm going to grab an auxiliary, a projected view of this, and make sure I have this on there as well. And again, this is going to be in color and half the scale. Okay. Oops. The next thing that I want to show you here, I'm going to zoom in. All right, so let me zoom in a little bit. Oops. Again, when you have a touchpad, this becomes more and more difficult. I'm going to grab a section view. And my section view I want is going to be here. And I'm going to want to section. All right. And the section is going to tell me which direction that I'm looking at. And of course, this is, I don't want this here. I'm going to wrong buttons there. See, that's what happens when and you can see we have a section view looking from that side. So here, and again, you can adjust your section view. And the section view you can see is actually showing me how I am looking at this. So if I wanted to come off of this and adjust my section view, you could adjust your arrows here. Okay, so just so you know, it's going to take a look at your section view so I can actually see the inside from point B to B looking in that direction. So there's your section view. So we can actually see the part. If you want to do this, you could actually start your section view straight up and down like this. And then that way you would get from C to C as well. Okay. All right. And that's going to get your whole part in there. Let me show you that. Section view. All right, and then there's your section view. You can see how there's nothing in the bottom. I just got rid of those little squiggly lines in the bottom. That's all. That just looks a little better. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is going to do the same thing with the smokestack. I'm actually going to go like this for my smokestack and go make this 1/2. Make sure that's labeled. And I'm going to place a section view of my smokestack. So section. Sorry about that. I keep section view. There we go. And there's your section view there. All right. And so you should have your section views on there. All right. And I'm going to grab my little hand here. All right. Home key to get up to where I want to be. And there's your next page. And then, of course, your last page is going to be your wheel and your track. If you have the track done, if you haven't done the track yet, get the track down and put it on this sheet. The track is going to be a simple view of that, but the one I really want to show you is going to be the wheel. Okay. So the wheel is there. And I'm going to do the side and up here. Okay. And notice the wheel really looks bad without the tangent edges on. And I'm going to save this room over here for your track. Make sure my tangent edges are on. Oh, that looks better. This is going to be shaded and 1/2 scale and labeled properly. Make sure you label that as wheel. Don't do what I just did. All right, now time to zoom in. Okay. Okay, zoom in here. And what I want to do is I need a detail view. So the detail view is going to allow you to have a shape here. And I want it like this. And you can see how it blows up a piece of this. And I'm going to use this little hand tool again. So that way I can see detail now of this. And you see how it shows you the detail? Pretty nice, right? So again, all I did was select detail view and make sure the detail was of a circle. And now you can see. So I have the wheel, this. If you want, this picture pretty much shows it all. You could do a section of that as well. But for my purposes, that detail view is fine. And then again, if you have the track done, all right, you can actually open up the track. And I'm going to go home. Track down. Project off the track. And make sure that this is all set so everything fits nicely in here again. And again, your track is going to be labeled. Make that 1/4. Okay. And again, move this all out of the way so that way we can actually fit everything in there nicely. And there's your track, all right? Ta-da! And that's about it, all right? So those are all your sheets. We should have 6 sheets total ready to go. And when you want to go print it, remember there's an option for best fit. And that's going to make sure it fits nicely if you're going to print these and put these in your engineering notebooks. All right, everybody. And that's it for today. And then I will see you all next time.